Welcome back to 3D Cartoon Review. Today's tale returns to the star-flecked vastness of the original universe, where vows are forged in pressure and hearts are tested by time. At the end of the previous episode, after claiming the Spirit Tower, Luo Feng was formally accepted as a true personal disciple by the mysterious old being known as Sitting Mountain Guest. From that moment, a new destiny began to unspool, equal parts wonder and danger. The light within the Spirit Tower was not like sunlight or starlight. It was older, thin as breath, soft as mist, yet deep enough to drown a mind that looked too long. When Luo Feng stood beneath that dim canopy, the first thing he felt was not awe, but quiet. The kind of quiet in which a destiny can change shape without a sound. Across from him, the ancient being known as Sitting Mountain Guest lowered his gaze, and the whole world seemed to lower with it. "Your master, the Chaos City Lord, is among the foremost lords of the universe," the old man said, voice neither loud nor soft, but carrying like a bell struck once. "When the day comes that you, Luo Feng, become a lord of the universe, I will grant you two supreme treasures. With them, you will be able to suppress even your master." Luo Feng's heart lurched not from arrogance or greed, but because the promise felt like a mountain moved close enough to see the veins in its stone. "One," the old man continued, lifting a finger. "The Spirit Tower." A second finger rose. "Two, the Calamity armor currently in the care of your second senior brother among the Flame God race." Luo Feng had seen miracles. He had lived through horrors. Still, a part of him remained the quiet youth from Earth, a young man who once held a blade not knowing it would one day hold galaxies. He forced his breath to settle. "My second senior brother?" he asked, respectful, curious. Sitting Mountain Guest's eyes held a time-worn humor. "He wields the Flame God halberd for close combat and the Origin Soul to amplify his spirit. Long ago, I created the Flame God race. Later, I found them unsatisfying. So I guided the birth of the Earthling Line." The Earthling Line. Luo Feng tasted the name like a vow. "Their secret weapon," the old man said, "is a set of laws known as the Nine Tribulations Secret Code. It grants an evolution of genes that rebels against the universe's own tendencies, surpassing even apex bloodlines like the golden-horned beast." He let the thought hang before adding, softer, "But the truest edge you possess isn't biology. It is a quality the cosmos cannot manufacture, an invincible will. Earth nurtures hearts that do not break." He turned his palm. The world tipped. Floor, ceiling, direction, everything rearranged as if space had remembered a truer shape. Luo Feng found himself within a hidden chamber that lived inside the Spirit Tower, a private realm flooded with glacial light. The ceiling drifted like crystal fog. Beneath it, millions of water orbs hovered, pearls of condensed spirit, each one glowing faintly, as if a sleeping thought were curled inside. Prady Ancient Servant, quiet shadow, stood a little behind Luo Feng, eyes shining with reverence. The old man faced the galaxy of orbs and spoke as simply as if he were naming family. "This," he said, "is the future of your Earthling Line." The words landed like anchors. Luo Feng felt the meaning ring through him. He remembered the Origin Soul, how it could birth spirit soldiers, the soldier souls and general souls, shaping mental force into obedient warriors. He remembered also the lock built into their creation. Only Earthling souls could fully command them. Here, floating like frost-lit moons, lay the seed of a legion, a spiritual army for an Earth that did not yet know the army already waited. Sitting Mountain Guest, reading his silence, inclined his head. "Among the universe lords who challenged the Spirit Tower and failed, none matched your endurance for pain. That is why a world lord succeeded where venerables fell. Begin with two general souls." Two firefly-bright motes drifted into Luo Feng's hands. They were weightless. They were heavy. "Come," the old being added. "Let us walk the tower." He flicked a sleeve and a 10-kilometer star yacht unfolded from emptiness, sleek, black, its hull traced with faint runic veins. They stepped aboard. The craft sailed through a corridor without walls, the tower's interior broadening like a canyon of night. Luo Feng saw shafts of impossible height, platforms like continents, terraces as calm as lakes. He thought he understood the legend that, in its full stature, the Spirit Tower reached 9 light-years, not a building, but a verdict. Prady stood by the rail and spoke low, almost to himself. "Teacher is a paramount existence. His realm, when he speaks, law obeys. If he declares, "Fire freezes," then within his domain ice it becomes. The yacht slowed. The old man let the vessel fold back into nothing. Silence resumed like a mantle. "Listen," Sitting Mountain Guest said. "Calamity armor requires strength equal to 100 million world lords merely to wake. The Spirit Tower requires 100 times more. When you can drive the tower fully, a single strike can reduce a universe venerable to ash." He studied Luo Feng's aura, then, with neither pity nor scorn, shook his head. "For now, you cannot wield it, so you will carry a substitute." He pinched his fingers. Force condensed into a rolled tapestry, an astral scroll threaded with shifting sigils. In his other hand appeared a handful of town-sealing spirit stones, glittering like trapped lightning. "This is the spirit diagram," he said. "Pair it with these spirit stones. Consider it a low-grade supreme treasure." Luo Feng's fingers twitched not toward the scroll, but toward the tower itself, as if some new, reckless instinct wished to test the forbidden. Sitting Mountain Guest's glance hardened. A single syllable closed the distance. "No." The refusal fell into the chamber and vanished, leaving air that felt freshly cooled. "The Spirit Tower is too famous," the old being said. "If it vanishes from its post, every apex will turn their gaze here. Not only you, over 100,000 immortals fighting at the front will be caught in that storm. Even your human giants, Chaos City Lord among them, would confiscate the tower for the race's survival." He relaxed his hand. The warning turned to a patient instruction. "Unless you stand on their level, do not touch the tower. For now, you have enough. Wings of Rio Tinto, Tower Bead, and now Spirit Diagram treasures without notorious legend. Use them, learn, endure." Finally, the old man gave him a slender thread of coordinates, 3 points gleaming in a mind map like nails hammered into the fabric of space. "The remaining volumes of the Nine Tribulations Secret Code," he said. "Retrieve them yourself." Then he was gone, as if the world had blinked. Luo Feng stood alone. The quiet remained, but it was now the quiet found between two drumbeats. He knelt and summoned 100 town-sealing spirit stones, setting them to circle like planets. With care bordering on tenderness, he fused them into the spirit diagram one by one. The scroll drank each stone with a soft thrum. Sigils brightened, lines wove, geometries nested simple at first glance, terrifying when followed to their ends. "Now," he murmured. He chose a technique whose cruelty suited his present need. Tearing heaven one claw, he etched the move into the diagram's heart. 6 stones peeled free, spun, flared, and became 6 titanic claws of spirit iron, raking the void until space itself screamed in long silver tears. The hairs on his arms rose. "Good," he said under his breath. "Too good." He smoothed the scroll, felt its temper, tasted the pride blooming at the edges of caution. Not a merry diagram, had decided. A spirit Overlord Map. He inhaled, let joy pass, and turned to the 2 general souls. They dissolved into light and slipped into his spiritual sea. The change was immediate. The world sharpened. Thought became iron. His spiritual force surged 10,000-fold, and with it came a hush, the strange calm of a blade finally meeting the whetstone it had waited for. He ran checks like a soldier at dusk. Equipment, clones, contingencies. The Moshe race clone flexed in the distance of his awareness, its body refined enough to teleport alone. With the wings of Rio Tinto, Tower Bead, Spirit Overlord Map, and 2 general souls now throned in his mind, Luo Feng felt what he had always secretly wanted to feel. Not invincible, but stubborn to kill a small, armored cockroach in the language of the truly mighty. Time then to face the world he fought for. He logged into the virtual universe. Messages blinked into existence like a broken dam becoming a river. Mentor notes, comrades' inquiries, formal alerts. He scanned with discipline until one number reached out and gripped his throat. Shu Xin, 38,192 messages. He opened the thread. The timestamps arranged themselves like gravestones. A disaster signal he had set 6,000 years prior had auto-triggered. She had believed him lost. For over 100 years, she had written every day. Not tactical reports, not please letters. Fragments of breakfast, of the children's growth, of summer heat and winter rain. A diary of survival, written to a husband who might never read a word. Luo Feng closed his eyes. The weight in his chest did not crush him, it clarified him. When he opened his eyes, he did not hesitate. Space tore with the clean sound of silk being cut. The Black Dragon Mountain Island spread beneath him, a crescent in the dark, its 9-star bay holding the sky the way cupped hands hold water. Lights freckled the shoreline. Wind ran its fingers through the masts of moored ships. Luo Feng drifted above it all, letting the world recognize him at its own pace. Onshore, his eldest son Luo Ping had had enough wine to mistake chairs for old friends and shadows for challengers. He turned, saw a figure in the doorway armored in quiet, and sobered 3/10 on terror alone. "Dad," Luo Ping blurted, forcing bravado through a throat gone dry. "Since your message, the whole family's been on edge. Rumors said you fell. The Lassie family, they've been pressing us. They have Sword Sheath King, an immortal king. Mom's still inside negotiating." "Take me," Luo Feng said. They moved through corridors that had known laughter and were now learning what fear sounded like. At the door to the negotiation chamber, voices bristled, the envoy from the Lassie family finishing a sentence shaped like a final ultimatum. The door did not open, it left its hinges. Luo Feng walked in, not with fury, with a stillness more dangerous than rage. He wore armor, not the legendary Calamity armor, but a battle shell activated through the resonance of the two general souls, and the pressure that flowed from him was will-made weather, the kind that turns a room of men into a valley of reeds under storm. The envoy's mouth closed. Words retreated. Luo Feng let the silence stand a heartbeat longer, then gave it a spine. "Lassie family?" he asked, voice low enough to make the floorboards listen. "Sword, Sheath King?" He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "You dare to bully my Luo family. Courage indeed." He tipped his chin the barest measure. "Carry this message back. Unless he gives me a clear answer, I don't mind sending him away, and erasing the Lassie family with him." A chair creaked in the corner. No one sat in it. "Out," Luo Feng said. The envoy's attendants became students of obedience. In 3 blinks, the chamber was empty, save for the people it was built for: Luo Feng and Xu Xin. The armor shifted its weight as if it too knew when to be silent. Luo Feng let it fade back into passive mode and crossed the room without ceremony. He didn't rush. He didn't linger. He arrived. "You've suffered," he said. The words were not grand. They were worse, true. Xu Xin's face moved, relief first, then anger at the relief, then the kind of joy that makes anger end of its own accord. She pressed into him, and he held her as if the last 100 years could be convinced to reconsider. "You're back," she said against his chest. "That's enough." It could have been. He lifted a hand and touched a tear at the edge of her eye, as careful with it as one of the spirit stones he'd handled an hour ago. The movement was small, the promise was not. "From this moment," Luo Feng said, each word placed where it could not be dislodged, "no one will bully anyone beneath the Luo roof. No one will dare." Outside, the bay exhaled and pulled the night tighter around itself. Boats clicked gently against their moorings. Wind loosened and wandered off to bother some other corner of the world. Inside the chamber, a silence gathered that wasn't empty. It was kept like a temple is kept, like a home is kept, when the person who left it steps back through the door and the walls remember how to breathe. Elsewhere, in a tower too tall to fit in a sentence, an ocean of water orbs drifted patiently on their invisible currents. The spirit tower waited. The Calamity armor waited inside a vault far away, held for a day not yet written. Across star maps and along routes only he and one ancient being knew, the 3 remaining volumes of the Nine Tribulations Secret Code glimmered like coordinates to a future that had to be earned, step by step. Luo Feng did not yet stand at the level where he could take the tower into his hand and write history with it. But he owned what the old being had named as the truest edge, an iron heart. Today it showed itself not on a battlefield but in a room where fear had been speaking too loudly. He didn't argue with fear. He replaced it. When he released Spirit Diagram later that night to cool the pulse still drumming in his veins, the 6 spirit talons unfolded again in a quiet courtyard and shredded the air into lace. He named them each under his breath. Not mercy, not vanity, not doubt, not panic, not delay, not retreat, and folded the scroll with a steadier hand. He touched the general souls in his spiritual sea and felt them thrum, faithful engines ready to obey. He reached farther, to the Moshe clone, and felt the ease with which it could now teleport, a second life braided into the first. He looked on the sleeping island spread below and thought of the diary with 38,192 entries and the woman whose spine did not break. Invincible will, Sitting Mountain Guest had called it. Luo Feng had seen will in grander arenas under the eyes of venerables, within wars that redrew maps, but tonight the phrase belonged to a smaller room. It belonged to a promise spoken once and meant forever. That is where episode 197 ends, not with a shout, but with a vow that does not need to be repeated. An ancient being entrusts a future, a warrior arms both spirit and home, a mother's long letter closes, a family relearns the posture of standing tall. Outside, 9-Star Bay settles into its own breathing. Inside, the light hall holds two people, and between them the simplest kind of power when he speaks. Law obeys, but tonight it is not a universe's law. It is one man's word. No one will bully the Luo family. And the night, as if listening, nods. And that is where episode 197 closes. An old being entrusts a future. A warrior arms his spirit. A mother's diary closes its last page, and a home remembers what it feels like when the door opens and the one who left walks back in. Thanks for listening on 3D Cartoon Review. See you in the next episode.